Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Get Together, a social club for seniors. And this program is being recorded for future viewing on our YouTube and other media channels. So if you are watching this video on YouTube, please be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you can stay current on all of our future recordings. But I do have to say a special thank you for grant funding from Aero Cares by Lockheed Martin employees and also Hesta Stewart Christian Trust. And I am Heather, your host for today's program. And we are doing a special program today called Love Languages, where I have this wild idea to start exploring other languages. We can dabble in it. And today we'll talk about this idea of love. Do either of you speak another language? You know any words in a language other than English?
Yeah, I know a lot of words in Spanish, but I don't really speak Spanish.
Yeah. Who taught you those words in Spanish that you know?
Me?
Yeah, you just kind of self-taught?
Yeah, on the street, and there's a program on the internet called Duolingo,
Okay.
and it's really good for Spanish. It's free, and it just keeps going. And usually the things you have 2 or 3 lessons, and they say then now you got to pay for it. But
Uh-huh.
this one has been free for years.
Oh, nice. So you're pretty self-taught, just kind of doing that in your spare time, right?
Yes.
I like it. Well, I have a confession to make. I know some words in Spanish, but they're not all clean, so I'm not going to say them out loud. And I don't know enough to be functional, I can do the basic greetings, ask people how old they are, stuff like that, but the majority of the words are not family friendly, so I'll steer clear.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike? Do you know any words in another language?
Poquito.
Poquito is a little, yeah. A little. So when I was taking the Choctaw language class, it's called Chata Anumpa. That's Choctaw language. I remember that. But I learned some. I learned enough to kind of like feel my way through it a little bit. But if you don't use it every day, it's not, you're not around it. I hit the flush button and it's really all gone,
Yeah, it's like Spanish. Same way.
Have to keep using it, yeah.
And I didn't think, but a Japanese lady friend of mine taught me how to say good morning. It's Ohio. Like Ohio, but hi is actually Ohio.
Ohio. It's like the inflection. And isn't it true that the inflections and the intensity of different parts of the words, they kind of make or break the messaging of it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Well, whenever I started, I thought, well, we can learn different languages and say, hello and goodbye and how are you, and the basic greetings and stuff. But then I also started thinking about this concept of the love languages. And have you guys ever heard of the love languages? There are 5 of them, apparently.
Romance languages?
Yes, but it's different ways that people apparently show their affection towards one another. And I found a little clip that kind of elaborates on that some, but it was all based on a book called The 5 Love Languages. It's a New York Times bestseller. It came out years ago. And it's a book by Gary Chapman. And in this book, he says that there are 5 ways that people either just naturally show love, and then 5 ways that people prefer to receive love. And there are 5 different things. One is physical touch, holding hands or a pat on the back or something like that. There's words of affirmation. Sometimes people like to be told, that they're wonderful or that they're beautiful or something like that. The third one is quality time. Some people value, just being in the presence of others more. The fourth one is gifts. Some people show or prefer to receive affection by receiving different gifts. And then the fifth one is deeds or good works. Like, you can say I love you all day long, but if you mow my lawn, I really know that you love me, that sort of thing, right? If you rub my feet, that kind of thing.
Rub my feet.
Hey, Miss Pat.
Hi.
Hi. What are your thoughts about these love languages? You feel like this Gary Chapman fella is onto something?
Girl, I don't know.
Speaking of this Gary Chapman, there was a Gary Chapman on the national network that did MCing on there. Do you have any idea if it's the same person or not?
I don't know. No, I have no idea. He has, this is the book that really put him on the map and made him famous, but the subtitle of his book, I think it's kind of funny. I mean, I don't know. I've never read it. I've just done the love languages. There's a quiz that goes with it too. If you guys want, I can email it to you. But the subtitle of his book is The Secret to Love That Lasts. What do you think there's some truth to it, or you think there's a deeper secret to lasting love?
No, I'd like to find out.
What do you think the secret is to lasting love?
Well, those 5 things you were talking about. If you take care of people, and treat them good, and like I say, do things for them and show them that you love them.
It's more than just saying I love you, right?
Right.
It's trust and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have trust and you have to have understanding.
Yeah.
And you got to be able to put up with each other's mess.
And you got to give a good foot massage. No, I'm teasing. There was a couple I was talking to. They were celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary. And I asked the gentleman, I said, what's the secret to 70 years of wedded bliss? Any guesses on what his answer was?
With massage.
He said, well, I learned real quick that the secret to 70 years of wedded bliss is anytime she says anything, I say, yes, ma'am.
Right.
He said.
Got the secret.
Yep.
That's right.
What do you think, Mike?
I think you might have something there.
He might.
Mama's happy, everybody's happy.
Happy wife, happy life.
There's something to it. That phrase didn't get popular for no reason, right? All right, well, let's see here. So there's a quick video that I found. I thought it was kind of cute. And it introduces how to say I love you in 10 different languages. So let me stop sharing real quick. Let me get this video pulled up for you. We'll try our hand at these different languages, all right?
Okay.
And again, you guys are my guinea pigs, so if this goes south, I'll just ask for your forgiveness later. Okay, let's see here.
You got to take the phone call.
Okay. All right, I got it pulled up. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see this this screen?
Yeah, the girl.
Yes. All right. Turn your volume up. After this motorcycle goes by, I'll hit play. Okay.
And now it's super cheesy or what? Oh my god, okay.
Te amo.
Ja lubię ciebie.
אני אוהבת אותך. kocham cię. Seni seviyorum.
Eu te amo.
Ich liebe dich.
Je t'aime.
Jag älskar dig.
Ti amo, which means I love you.
Thanks for watching. Adios.
Had you guys heard any of those before? They went through them pretty fast, so we'll review them again. But had you guys
Just-
heard any of those before?
Just te amo.
Te amo.
Yeah,
What else?
that's the only one I've seen.
Mike, had you heard any of them before?
No, I haven't.
I had a great aunt who came to the U.S. from Germany. She met my great uncle when he was stationed over there, and she had a lot of amazing stories and some that she didn't want to talk about. But one of the things that she brought back was her love of gummy bears. So everyone loved gummy bears. She called them gummy bears. And Oma and Opa, as grandma and grandpa, she had everybody call them that. But Ich liebe dich is I love you. And so if there was anybody who came over to her house, when they left her house, whether they were a stranger or not, she was always telling them Ich liebe dich. So I had heard that one before. Let's give these a try real quick.
Te amo.
Yeah.
Te amo. You had Dusty, you said you had heard that one before.
Oh yeah.
I tried my hand at Russian and my tongue was so twisted, I got a muscle cramp in my mouth.
Я
All right, so let's try this one.
люблю тебя.
אני אוהבת אותך.
Anyo eftoha is in Hebrew. Anyo eftoha.
Wow.
You want to give that one a try? Anyo eftoha.
Año
wanted to
esto ha. Say it again.
That's loud, I'm sorry. Anyo eftoha is I love you in Hebrew. Let's try this next one.
kocham cię.
Kohamchen. Kohamchen.
Kohamchen.
Uh-huh, that was Russian, Kohamchen.
Seni seviyorum.
Senu Seviarho is Turkish. Sanu Seviarho is Turkish.
Te amo.
Te amo.
Ich liebe
Ich liebe dich, we said German.
dich.
Je t'aime.
Je t'aime. What was that, Italian?
Sounds French.
Je t'aime, was that French? Okay.
Spain.
Jag älskar dig.
Jag älskar dig, Swedish.
Ti amo.
Ti amo. So ti amo in Italian is the same as te amo in Spanish.
It's spelled different.
It is spelled different. Did you know that, Dusty? That Spanish and Italian are very similar in this
Oh
way?
yeah. Yeah, and Portuguese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've heard people talk about how English is, in a lot of ways, the most complex language. It's the hardest to learn.
Yeah.
Had you heard that?
Oh yeah.
Which means I
Yes.
love you.
Thanks for
Say that again, Dusty.
My mind went blank.
Oh,
What were we talking about?
Spanish and Italian seem to be very similar, and I've heard people talk about how English is often difficult to learn.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because what is there 5 different sounds of A in English? I don't know. I don't remember. I know there were, long, short, and all the different. But in Spanish, there's only one pronunciation for every letter, and if you see it, you pretty well know how to pronounce the word, because you can just say it out if you know the alphabet.
Yeah.
It's but English is a
Very
lot of
Very
yeah,
complex.
complex. Yeah.
What did you start to say a few minutes ago, Mike?
Portuguese has a lot of similarities also to Spanish.
Oh, does it?
I thought.
Did you have to take a second language in school? Was it required?
Yeah, I didn't pay attention though. I realized that once I, but it's something like if you don't use it and practice it, you lose it.
So
You know.
true. That's so true.
I used it more when I was in school than as an adult, so I've lost it.
I bet, yeah. You stop, use it or lose it,
Yeah.
Well, they had Japanese on some of these I thought was kind of interesting. So let's listen to how to say I love you in Japanese. And if you'll notice here, this is how it's written out as well. So let's listen to I love you in Japanese.
愛しています。
愛してます。愛してます。
愛しています。
Oh, 愛してます. I guess the U at the end is silent. Do you remember what we discussed as I love you in Spanish?
Te amo.
Te amo.
Yo quiero.
What does yo quiero mean?
I love you. You seen the balloons in the stores with that?
I always thought it was te amo. Okay.
It is. It's both. Yeah.
Oh, is it both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sharp.
Yep, te amo. And let's listen to that one and practice it.
Te amo.
Te amo. Mike, give it a whirl, man.
Te amo.
Te amo.
Te amo.
All right. Let's try French next.
Oh boy.
Oh, man.
Going all around the world. Yeah.
So this looks similar.
Je t'aime.
Je t'aime. So the spelling is kind of broken out the same as Spanish.
Yeah.
But of course it sounds different. Je t'aime.
Je
Je
t'aime.
t'aime. Je t'aime.
Je t'aime.
Je
All right.
t'aime.
So do you remember what we said about German? How you say I love you in German?
No.
Mike, you were close.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe
Ich
dich.
liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
All right.
Ich liebe dich.
Anyone want to take a stab at Korean?
Probably not.
No.
No, I agree. I couldn't even imagine writing out an essay in Korean. Look at how this is written out. It's just
All those letters for I love you.
all those letters for I love you. Let's see what it sounds like to say I love you in Korean.
당신을 사랑해요.
No, ma'am. I don't think that my tongue can say that.
No.
당신을 사랑해요.
Dusty,
No.
you want to give it a try?
No.
당신을 사랑해요.
Punchit
Destiny.
Sanhareo? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you remember what we said I love you was in Italian?
Ti amo.
It's very similar, right?
Huh?
Ti amo.
Ti amo, very similar to Spanish.
Oh.
Ti amo.
What about one of the African languages? Can we hear it in one of their languages?
There are a bunch to choose from in this list. What do you think it would be called?
Swahili is one. Zulu.
Okay.
Swahili.
All right, let's try Swahili.
Woo!
Looks
But
like
there's not an option to listen to it. There's not an audio option on this one.
Oh no.
Yeah. You want to give it a try, Tia?
Nina Kupenda.
Nina Kupenda? Have you heard that one before?
Seem like I have.
Yeah. What was the other one that you said besides Swahili?
There's one language from Africa and it has clicks all in
Oh,
it.
no.
I can't think of the name of it, but it's fascinating and I love to hear it spoken.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Rwanda? No. I'm not sure about that.
Any of these familiar? Any of these ringing a bell on that?
We really can't see on the grand pad. It's so tiny.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What about look up Jamaica? Would they say, I love you, man?
Probably.
Nope. Nope. Only J is Japanese. Let's see. There is, oh, let's try Arabic.
Yeah.
I don't, Abak, maybe? Ahbak is how it sounded out. Let's see what it sounds like in Arabic.
أحبك
Ahabak.
أحبك
Ahabak.
Ahabak.
Yeah. All right. So that's I love you in Arabic. Well, let's keep going. I want to share my screen again, going back to this PowerPoint. Uh-oh. Got to do it the right way.
Oh, they come
Go. Okay. What about American Sign Language? Do any of you know any sign language? Yeah, that's how you say I love you in ASL, American Sign Language, ASL. Do you know how to say I love you very much?
I'm doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it. Where did you learn that, Tia?
Oh, just somewhere along life. I don't know. I know a little bit of sign language, maybe interpreting music, someone singing, or I don't know.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, so there's a quick video I found for that. Let me get it pulled up for you real quick.
And I think that this symbol, it has the letter I, which is your pinky, and it has an L, which is for love, and it has the Y for you. And they put them all together, and that's why the hand looks like that.
You could have taught this video then. You could have absolutely taught it. Let me share my screen to show you the video.
Los Angeles.
Oh, you hear what Mike said?
What's that?
Don't do that in Los Angeles.
Oh.
Not in South Central. Not in South Central. Don't do that.
It might look like gang signs.
Good to know. Good to know. Keep your affection to yourself, right?
Pretty much.
Keep your hands and your affection to yourself. Well, let's learn a little bit about American Sign Language that thou shalt not do in LA.
How do you say I love you in sign language?
Oh, hold on. Is your volume turned up? I think you
Yeah,
may have
it's
to
good.
kick your volume up a little bit more. It's kind of low.
I love you. And if you look closely, you'll see the
I,
letter I, the
L,
letter L, and the letter
Y. I love you.
I-
Everybody do that on the screen? Yeah?
Yeah.
You got it, Dusty? All right, awesome. Let's expand it a little bit more.
I love you. And something I've seen that's pretty cute that the kids do in school. I really love you.
And that means I love you very much. So your middle finger is crossing over your index finger. That kind of stretches out my hand a little bit.
It's making the letter R. That's why it's I really love you.
Oh, this is R?
I think so.
Okay. Nice. Can you do that, Dusty? Oh, yeah, it doesn't want to do it right.
Wow, that's good.
I thought that was pretty interesting. You know any other words in sign language? Anyone?
No.
Oh, Dusty, I think I can't hear you well.
Thank you.
Oh, is that means thank you?
Yes, and this means very beautiful.
Beautiful.
Pretty.
Oh, nice. Okay. I should probably learn this. What about Morse code? Any ideas? What do you? Oh, Dusty, I can't hear you. I don't know why the audio isn't working. It's kind of odd. You're not muted.
We can't hear him either.
Yeah.
Do you see his lips moving?
It was, yeah. Yeah, no, we still can't hear you. Can't hear you. I see your lips moving, but we can't hear you. Well, while he's figuring out his audio, let me get this video about Morse code pulled up. I thought this was really interesting, but just similar to some of the Asian languages, to me it would be very difficult to write in a a complete sentence. It would just, it's so much effort to write in a letter or two, you know.
The tapping.
Yeah. So let me change my screen over to this real quick. Stop sharing that. Share this video. So turn your volume up and we will learn what I love you sounds like in Morse code. Can you see the screen? Okay.
Back in the day,
All of that is I love you. Can you believe that? That's crazy. That's so much.
No.
So Mike was saying back in the day, someone who was operating the telegraph machine would have to type all that in a message.
I know. And then, well, it's no wonder that that, you know, if there's a ship going down or having some issues, no wonder they didn't send out a whole message. It was just SOS, you know. It was so much faster.
Wow.
Well, isn't that wild? So let me get another one pulled up. So I was trying, gosh, so loud, I'm sorry. So whenever Miss Mary was on the program with me yesterday, she and I were talking about Choctaw language and Cherokee language. And so I told her that I would look this up for her and I'll pass it along to her. But I did find that the phrase I love you in the Choctaw language, but I couldn't find the audio for it. And so Chihuloli, I'm guessing I'm saying it correctly. Chihuloli is I love you in the Choctaw language. Do you know any phrases that are associated with Native American tribal language at all?
No.
Oh, Dusty, I don't know what's going on with your audio. We still can't hear you. It's very odd. But Chihuloli is I love you in the Choctaw language. And the last one, oh, Miss Pat is back. Good. Hey, Miss Pat.
Hi.
So the last one that I had pulled up to share with you guys today is I love you in the Cherokee language. And Cherokee is what Miss Pat was saying that she had studied in the past. And so I found that the Cherokee Nation actually puts out videos pretty regularly teaching the Cherokee language. And so there is a lot of really well documented, language classes. They're doing a really great job, preserving that part of their culture. But I want to show that for you in just a second, and I'll share my screen. You too. Okay, turn your volume up and we can learn the last language, the Cherokee language saying I love you.
CO, I'm Donetta, and welcome to Cherokee Word of the Week. This week's phrase is Gagayui. Gagayui. Gagayui, which means I love you. Be sure to check.
Gagayui. You guys give it a try?
Gagayui.
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 You know anyone who you might be able to say I love you to in another language and they would understand what you're saying?
No.
No?
No.
Mike,
Yeah,
what about you?
Oh, I'm afraid not.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, Dusty, that's it. You
Welcome
got
back. Welcome back.
it.
I changed from the headphones to the camera mic.
You got it figured out, man. Just in the nick of time.
And what I said a while ago was Oseo is hello in Cherokee.
You said, say that again.
Oseo.
Oseo? What does that mean?
Like, hello.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
And Oseo Tohijan is hello, how are you? I don't know a good response after that, other than just, you know. Oseo, yeah, that's right. Well, thanks for being my guinea pigs and letting me try out this program on you.
Well, Heather, if you plan to send Miss Mary some information, just keep in mind, you can now send an email to the GrandPad, but do not contain any links in it because they can't click on any link.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, it's good to know. Okay, cool. What questions do you have? Any thoughts or feedback or anything? This is kind of a new one, so I welcome any thoughts or feedback or questions you have.
Well, who is the lady you said was studying Cherokee?
It's another lady who she joins the 11:30 program periodically. Her name is Mary. She's recently joined, but she said she didn't think she was going to be able to come today. So you might meet her in the future.
Okay.
Mary Mulholland.
I was just wondering if she did any kind of programs or I know there was one Cherokee lady came to the library in Saginaw and put on a presentation about the Cherokee Nation.
This is a participant just like you. This is someone who tunes into the programs just like you do.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I would like to meet her.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to make sure next time I see her, I'll let her know that you want to meet her. Tia, is that because you have everyone's contact information? Could you make that connection?
We can talk offline, maybe.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Well, thank you guys for joining. So tomorrow, we're going to have another program that I lead called Where in the World is Heather? And so I travel quite a bit, in state and out of state. And so in my travels, I put together a program about the different locations that I go to and some facts and little known information about all the different places that I travel to. And I've done a lot of traveling lately. So I have something special planned for you guys tomorrow if you join at 11:30. And then the 11:30 program on Friday is the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History. And they always have some really cool artifacts and pieces up their sleeve to show us. So I hope you guys can join us at 11:30 later on. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right.
Great.
Mike, I'm glad you joined us, man. It was nice meeting you.
Well, thank you so much, Heather. I really appreciate the information, and it's something I really look forward to doing.
Absolutely. Sounds good. All right, Dusty, good to see you again.
All
right. Ciao. Bye,
Later.
Pat.
Bye-bye.